Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS Slate Breakdown for Monday, July 21st. We're here, we're back. We got a 10-game slate to dive in tonight. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, and come join us at LineStar, $39.99 per month. Gives you access to all we do, the props, the DFS, you get it all, one low price. Now, let's jump in, see what we got. We're going to start with yesterday's perfect lineups and the winning lineups on both sites, FanDuel and DraftKings, and then we will jump into today's pitchers and stacks to consider. Going to yesterday's 8-game slate on DraftKings, we had Savali, Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams just had himself a day with 11 Ks, 7 innings, 1 earned run. Then we had a 2-man Sox stack and all one-offs with only 41,200 being used in this perfect lineup, and 257.85 was the perfect lineup score. Winning lineup 176.85 goes to Scout 326. They had Pivetta, they had Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams as chalk was just absolute necessity with this type of score that he put up. And then we had a 5-man Yankee stack and one-offs, Bogarts, Martinez, and Vargas. So Vargas got it done. Martinez got it done. Bogey had a grand slam, had himself a day, and he got it done. Won by, just a little over 1 point. Now, let's check out the FanDuel action where we got Gavin Williams. No surprise there. 2-man Sox and all one-offs, 31,300, 366.8. Once again, well below all the salary used. The winning lineup went to Density, who won 10K. They had 280.3. The thing that was so crazy to me about this one, though, they got second with 245.8. So just an absolute massive gap. It is so rare you see this big of a gap between first and second, and the two being, the same people won both. So in both aspects, Joe Ryan 14.7%, 61 point. He went 7 innings. He had 11 Ks. He had a quality start and 1 earned run, just like Gavin Williams. So huge game. Congrats to him. And then we had a 4-man Houston stack, 2-man Arizona, and 2 one-offs with Neto and Bader. Then his second lineup, 4-man White Sox, 3-man Arizona, and a one-off with Minnesota. So he had a 4-2-1-1 and a 4-3-1 as far as his 2 lineup constructions for first and second. Congrats to you, Density. Now, let's dive in, see what we can uncover for this glorious slate today. On to DraftKings, the high-owned pitcher of the day. We got Zach Gallen, 7,500, 25% owned. All right, this is a tough one. Gallen, huge ceiling. We've talked about this over and over again. Something is just off with him. Some days he brings it and he pulls it all together and he has these huge outings. But he's kind of in his Lucas Giolito era where he can put it all together, absolutely crush, and then come out the next game and get crushed. Versus the Angels, gave up 6 runs in 5 innings, only 3 Ks. Versus San Diego, 6 innings, no earned runs, 9 Ks. Versus San Francisco, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 10 Ks. Game before that gives up 5 to the White Sox. Gives up 7 to Colorado. The man is Jekyll and Hyde lately, and I have a very, very hard time following this chalk. Think he's pretty high owned. Houston has been hitting very well lately. Really not a spot I like to chase in a hitter-friendly venue with how inconsistent Gallen has been, and they've been crushing righties lately. 262 average, 192 ISO, 338 WOBA. Not a spot I really love to be in on Gallen. So I'm going to be cautious here. I do think he's too cheap for the ceiling, so I'm fine getting some, but I have a very, very hard time going with 7,500 Zach Gallen versus a good offense when he's chalk. Don't mind some. He's too cheap. The ceiling is there, but be cautious. Next, we got Shane Baz, 9K, 24% owned versus the White Sox. Hey, I do have to say the White Sox are one of the hottest teams in baseball. They have put up 6+ runs in all 3 games since being back, 10 runs plus in 2 of them. So I don't totally love this spot, but the splits are still totally in Shane Baz's favor, and he's been dealing. Almost 45% ground balls, under 38% fly balls, very little hard contact, a lot of soft contact. Very interested in Shane Baz. The guy has been dealing with the 3.59 FIP over his last 5. Now, over the last 20, it's a 4.5 FIP. So he's not, an elite pitcher, but he is starting to show that elite upside as a big-time prospect that we thought he could have. And there's definitely some. I'm fine with some Baz, even at 9K. I think he is a little safer than Gallen, but it's another spot that I'm going to have to be a little cautious with. I am very, very interested in him, though. We have met 2.1x, 19-point projection, much higher than the 17 that Gallen is at. Next, we got Brandon Woodruff, 9,600, 21% owned. He's versus the Mariners, who you don't love to face, but 3.28 FIP over the last 20, 3.19 over the last 5, 32% K rate. The thing that I think is so wild, he has a 15.68% K per 9 rate, or 15.68 K per 9 rate over this season so far. Only two starts, but it's 18 Ks in 10.1 innings. Guy has been dealing. Now, over the long haul, he has been much worse away, so we do have to watch that. I do think there's going to be some regression in that K number. I don't think he can keep up that type of efficiency in the K department, and he's been giving up some hard contact. So there is some, potential regression coming here. However, Mariners do strike out a lot. I don't mind some Woodruff in this spot. There is a big-time ceiling. It's a pitcher-friendly park, but there's going to be some regression here. He can't keep striking out 15 batters per 9. That's just not what's happening. As far as any starter so far in this league, there's only one guy above him, and that's Sean Manaea, who only has 7 innings so far pitched. Below them, you drop all the way down to 11 as far as any other K per 9 in that Scooble. This rate is just very, very unlikely to continue out of him. But there's upside because he's done it the last 2 times out. I'm a little interested, not going to go super heavy. Next, we got Kevin Gausman, 8,500, 21% owned versus the Yankees. First thing I want to point out is what he has done versus the Yankees. He's seen him twice so far this year. Gave up 6 runs and 2 runs. So 8 runs in 7.2 innings. Not great. Then you look at last year. 4 earned runs, 4.2. 7 earned runs, 4.1. 1 earned run in 5. 5 earned runs and 1.1. He has got blown up by this Yankees team for the last 2 years. It is not a very good feeling. And then he's also not in great form. 4.94 FIP over his last 5 with only a 19% K rate. I am very hesitant to want to play Gausman at all, let alone him being chalky. If I get a little of him, I'm fine, but I'm not going to go super hard. This is a tough pitching slate. There is definitely some guys, but there's not a whole lot of spots I really, really like. And so I'm going to have to get to some of the guys that I don't really want to. Gausman's another one that I don't really want to. The ceiling's there. Guy can come out and put up 40, which is huge on DraftKings. But I would just say it's probably a little doubtful. Next, we got George Kirby, 9,200, 20% owned versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee is absolutely crushing right now. They are playing some great baseball. Kirby is a very good pitcher. 3.37 FIP, 23% K rate over his last 5. StatCast data is absolutely great. Doesn't have much data, versus Milwaukee, and Milwaukee's splits are good. The one thing I do have to say about Kirby and the 23% combined K rate, he has been much better at home. He strikes out more batters at home. His K per 9 is like 1K higher when he is at home versus away. So I think it's an interesting spot, but it's a very tough one versus Milwaukee, who's been dealing. Now, we have a game total of only 7. So I think you should probably be playing both sides of this pitcher duel a little bit, and I definitely am going to get some Kirby. Not a super comfy spot, but I like it a lot more than I like, say, Kevin Gausman. Next, we got Kodai Senga, 9,300 versus the Angels. All right, so he's had one outing off IL. He only went 67 pitches. That was 10 days ago. He probably, threw a little bit. I would expect this 67 maybe to be 85-ish. That is a number where we can see his ceiling. He, over the last 20, he has 80.3 pitches per game. I think the leash is pretty much off. Now, are we going to see a 90-pitch outing from him? Probably not. 100-pitch outing? Definitely not. But there's enough of a ceiling. He's averaging 16.49 fantasy points per start in 80 pitches. In 89, it's up to 20.54. I don't think it's likely he gets to 90. I think we're probably low 80s-ish. There's enough of a ceiling if he's really feeling it. He is going against an Angels team that strikes out a lot. So there is ceiling here. But he's going to have to be on his game. I don't love this spot. I think it's a little risky, but hey, he's averaging 50% more fantasy points at home. His strikeout rate is solid. Angels strike out a lot. He just has to miss some bats. And then we also have wind blowing in at Citi Field today. So I'm a little interested, but very worried about that pitch count. And I'm going to get some, not going to get a whole lot. Next, we got Jacob Lopez. This is the first pivot that I want to talk about. And he's only 6,800, so it's a value pivot. But the guy's been dealing lately. 3.86 FIP over his last 5 with a 26% K rate. StatCast data is okay. Over the last 20, he doesn't even have 20 starts. So take it with a grain of salt. 4.55 FIP over that span. I think there's upside here. And then Texas can't hit lefties. They've been bad versus lefties. Over the last 20, 198 average, 132 ISO, 274 WOBA, 26% K rate. Those are very poor numbers, and I don't mind going to some Lopez here. Now, the one thing I do have to warn you is that Rangers have been hitting better lately, so I have a little bit of a concern for that. And I don't think it's really been, one, they've probably only faced a handful of lefties over the last 20 games. So I don't think those splits are fully showing how they've been hitting. I like Jacob Lopez, but I also don't mind getting a little bit of Texas here because they've been hitting well. And Lopez is only 6,800. Definitely like him. Definitely going to be one of the pitchers I consider. I just am saying that other stuff so you don't go all bore. I don't want 100% Jacob Lopez, in my player pool. Next, we got Dustin May, 7,300. He's 8% owned. He's averaging almost 39% more fantasy points at home. If we look at his ceiling games, White Sox at home, Arizona at home, one away with Cleveland, at home versus Colorado, at home versus Atlanta. Where he's hitting 20 plus, he is at home. When he's away, he's under it. So there is a big time difference between him being home and away right now, and he's facing a Minnesota team that's striking out at 23.5% versus righties over the last 20 games. They hit the ball hard versus righties, but a lower average. Woba's, okay. All in all, I'm a little interested in May, 7,300. He has the ceiling to do it. Now, his StatCast data is so scary. 40% hard contact, 37% fly balls. At least that line or that number is a little bit down, but it's 35% line drives, 27% ground balls. The guy's getting hit hard when he's being hit, so there's definitely some worry here. All in all, I like May. I'm going to have some, but I'm not going to go overboard on him. I think this is an interesting spot for him being home. Next, we got Carlos Rodon, 10K versus Toronto Blue Jays. This man found himself this season. 3.69 FIP over his last 20 starts and 28% K rate. Over the last 5, he's fallen off a little bit with a 4.59 FIP and a 23% K rate. StatCast data isn't the greatest, but it's not that scary. It's only a 31% hard contact rate. Not many fly balls, ground balls, decent here. It's just not much soft contact. But Blue Jays haven't been able to hit lefties over the last 20 games. The only feather in the Blue Jays cap here is the fact that they don't strike out much, and then they have been kind of hit or miss against Rodon. Last time you saw him, 2 earned runs, 5 innings, 4 Ks, 3 weeks ago or so. Then the year before, 5.1, 3 innings, 8 Ks, 3 earned runs, 8 Ks. Then he got lit up 2 times versus them. Now, he's a better pitcher this year than he was last year. Last year, he's still coming back from injury. He's found it this year. I'm very interested. Now, the Blue Jays do hit much better at home than they do away. So it is a little tough being in Toronto, but I think there's definitely some ceiling here, and he's going way too under-owned for me on a slate that I really don't like a ton of spots. I'm going to get some Rodon for sure. There was one spot. Oh, Elder. Elder versus the Giants. Elder has been terrible at home. And we have 100% worse on DraftKings for him. It's like 57% worse on FanDuel. But if you look, his only decent outings have been away. He's had 1 outing at home that was decent the entire season. So Elder at home and also favorable weather for hitting is not a spot I love, and Giant stacks are probably going to look a little bit interesting. Getting on over to FanDuel real quick. High owned, we got Gausman, Gallen. I mean, those are the 2 highest owned, and I don't like either spot. I'm going to get to some of both, but I don't totally like it. I think Baz, Lopez, Rodon, Kirby, Woodruff are all way more interesting. Even Senega, if you want to, over these 2. So I'm going to probably be getting different at pitcher on FanDuel. Now let's check out some stacks before we can round this out quickly. Highest owned, we got St. Louis Cardinals versus Gomber. No real surprise here. St. Louis can definitely hit. Their price is up a little bit in Coors, but probably not enough. I don't mind St. Louis versus Austin Gomber, who's just been terrible, and the bullpen is terrible behind him. I mean, it's wheels up, decent hitting weather. I don't mind St. Louis. The whole reason to fade them is because everybody's going to be playing them, but we're on a 10-game slate. 100% owned. There's enough areas to get different. I don't mind playing some St. Louis. Highest projected, we got Yankees. We talked about those BVP numbers with Gausman. I think it's wheels up for this Yankees offense. Arizona's also popping up versus Colton Gordon. Absolutely love that spot. Gonna have a lot of Arizona as well. Our highest value, we got Houston versus Zach Gallen. I already talked about this. Houston's been hitting very well. Gavin is boom bust. He's also high owned. Great leverage here. I'm gonna have some Houston. Our high ceiling, we got New York, the Cubs versus Noah Cameron. Cameron's been very solid. Not a spot I really want to seek out, but I don't mind if I get a little bit. And then our high leverage plays, we got Cubs, Angels versus Senega, Yankees. We covered all those. So click the teams tab. 6.2 for Cardinals. By far the highest. Next, we got Colorado at 5.3. McGreevy, doesn't have a big track record, but what we have seen, he's given up some hard contact, given up high average exit velocity. I think it's a little interesting to have some Colorado. They will be way less owned than St. Louis. Tampa Bay versus the White Sox, super interesting. Nice hitting park also. Dodgers versus Festa. Festa has been unlucky. The ERA is much higher than the FIP. He is a better pitcher than what he's shown. The Dodgers offense hasn't been great lately, but I don't think this Dodgers offense is going to stay down for long. I think it's only a matter of time, and we got nice home run wins with like 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out in Dodger Stadium. Braves versus Birdsong. Don't mind some, not going to go super heavy. Arizona versus Gordon, one of my favorite stacks. The only bummer is that behind Gordon is a solid bullpen. Mets versus Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson is like 38% better at home. He is away, and behind him is a bad bullpen. Makes some interest to want to have some Mets. Worry here is they may be without Alonso, or maybe they are definitely. I forgot if I saw him on the IL or not. I just know that he was going to be missing a game or two. Giants versus Elder. Absolutely love the spot. Going to get a ton of him. Texas versus A's. Another spot I'm interested in. I do prefer Lopez, but I'm going to get some because I think there is big time upside there with the poor bullpen behind Lopez. If he gets lit up, it could go real bad real quick. And then Houston, one of my favorite leverage. Houston and Yankees. Now, the thing here is that their run total is 2 lower than the Cardinals, 1 lower than Colorado. 2 is a big, big difference. That ceiling for the Cardinals is just huge in this spot. We're going to need them to fail for one of these, other stacks to really come through. I think there is a way, but it's just, not super likely. The Cardinals, by far and away, have the best chance of going off in this spot, but I think there's several other stacks that are interesting. And that's going to do it for us today, guys. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll be back with more tomorrow. Peace.